Gen V episode 7. Gen V continues to not miss.
Honestly, like for a show that is essentially a spin-off, it's very much like The Boys could have not existed, and this coming out, I would have been like, holy shit, this is like the next big like super. This is so good.
100%.
So much happened.
Bearing in mind how far in advance these shows are written and done, there was a number of bits that have a interesting timing to real world events.
Yeah.
So a lot of the episode hinges around Victoria Newman, who we know from The Boys is a soup and was raised by Giancarlo Esposito. Or sorry, his character.
Yeah.
And she's coming to the campus, and obviously her whole thing is she's like an anti-soup politician. But in reality, she doesn't believe in taking away people's soup. She just wants soup control.
Yeah. Just like her dad.
Yeah.
Or stepdad.
Which is really interesting. And basically, they realize they need to get evidence to someone who can cause chaos, but a black girl and a bi-gender Asian are not the people to break that news because no one will care. They need to get someone with power and influence.
Strangely realistic.
Yeah. But we also find out the Dean's motivation for... So did you twig straight away when they got into her office what had happened?
Oh, as soon as they started looking through that folder, I was like, I realized what this is.
I didn't realize if it was going to be so fresh for you, like it slipped your mind, or if it was so fresh you like get it.
Yeah.
So, season 1 of The Boys, episode 1 potentially.
No, I don't think it's episode.
Is it episode 2?
It might be
right near the very beginning.
It either was right at the end of episode 1 or it was episode 2. I forget.
Homelander goes up to save a plane. He realizes he can't save it, so they have to let the plane crash.
Yeah.
And instead of accepting that the superheroes can't save the day, it got turned into a...
The government didn't let them.
Yeah, it was a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
There was nothing anyone could do.
If the government allowed soups to help, we could have been here sooner and saved it, sort of thing.
And the information of Homelander threatened these people, refused to save anyone, and just left all of them... Because him and Maeve could have got a couple of people out.
Yep.
And instead they decided to let everyone die so that no one knew what had happened.
Yep.
And we find out that Dean Shetty's husband and child were on that flight.
Yeah.
Which was interesting because at the end of last week's episode, she talks about, like, can you make the virus contagious?
Yeah.
And we're like, what is her plan here? What are Vought planning?
I said, I don't think this is Vaught's plan. I think she just wants all soups gone. And I didn't think, like, have an idea of her motivation. I just thought she's ended up in this place of like controlling these superhero kids. Maybe she just hates them.
Yeah.
Or scared of them. Yeah.
So we get to see a contagious version of the virus in action, and my god, is it terrifying!
Yeah, it was gross,
brutal. Yeah,
and but then he's like, "Oh, it's only bodily fluids." To which she goes, "We'll make it airborne." And at that point, the doctor's like, "Hang on a second. This feels like even for Vought, this is a bit much." And then she's like, "Forget about Vought," and then threatens him. So
she then explains that she's got him over a barrel, and if he wants any chance of getting out alive, he should listen to her.
Yeah, otherwise he will be thrown to the dogs as the person that's created a virus to kill soups.
Exactly. So we were slightly wrong about who Maria's mysterious backer was.
Yes.
But we weren't far off.
We weren't. I'd taken a guess that it was maybe Carlos Esposito.
Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito's character.
Because he'd like lost control, didn't have someone in his corner anymore. Maybe he was But oh my god, I did not think like so looking back now, it's fucking obvious because with everything we know about the head popper, and then you look back to Marie and when she popped the guy's dick, it's the exact same thing. We
Do you know what they did? They
did
did just enough to keep them separate.
mm,
And in a world where like you have a lot of similar superpowers, but no one really has the same superpowers,
yeah.
there's just enough there for you to go, not relevant. And then when
Mhm.
it becomes obvious, you're like, oh my god, it was so obvious.
Yes.
Um, the big thing that I think helped their situation was the creative decision in the boys to have her eyes glaze over when she pops heads,
Mm,
which of course we've never seen Marie do. We've never seen her
yet.
eyes glaze over to use her powers. So it just shows like how much more effort it takes.
Mm. But then
Uh,
that's the thing is like
wow.
when she cuts her hand and does that, her eyes don't glaze. So it's just like
Yeah.
it's also the thing of we never saw what any of her other power like we didn't know she could do
Yeah.
anything other than head pop. So
And
it's
clearly
like
that's just like I learned one move, why do I need to learn a second?
well, yeah, she's learned a move that is not doesn't show off her powers. She can do it secretly, and it's like
Yeah, in
the
reality, the big giveaway should have been the dick exploding.
yeah, but that reveal that she's the, and then we find out that like she discovered her and that their powers are very rare. Then kind of opens up the thing of there's obviously only so many sets of like powers
Yeah.
because it is a chemically like created thing. There's only obviously so many combinations. Also seems like I'm also realizing a lot of it must also come down to your genetics because oh, I forgot what the young lad's name who can bend metal and stuff.
Oh,
Mark,
Polaris' son.
yeah, but
Yeah.
Polaris and his son both have very similar powers. So obviously, it's something to do with your genetics also influence it. There's
Well,
like repeats.
see, this is the bit I'm not sure about because we know that Homelander's son has similar powers to Homelander, but he
Mm,
never had any compound V.
true.
So I do wonder if maybe he doesn't have any compound V in him, and just his dad being a soup gave him powers.
I suppose it
Or,
depends
like you
when.
say, he got given compound V,
Yeah.
and because of their genetics being so similar, he got the same powers.
Potentially.
Kate's descent into madness is getting very scary.
Yeah. Also, before we move off the virus, the doctor and that, obviously they reveal the information to her. Immediately, the way that she reacted, I was like, "Ah, shit, this wasn't a good idea.
No, this was a bad idea.
This hasn't gone to the
Abort
right
mission.
person." Because obviously they're clueless to the fact that she's essentially Vought influenced.
Yeah.
Whether she wants to admit that or not, she does everything to protect Vought. It's instilled in her. So her getting the virus and then handing the guy the white plain business card, and he's like, "Huh, there's nothing on this," and then drop of blood. It's like, "Oh well, you're dead, mate." It's like such a calling. It's almost like a calling card thing that she can do now.
The bit that makes me laugh was him going, "Oh, it must be kind of dry." In
Yeah,
she's like, "Oh, it must be kind of dry in here. That's why my nose is bleeding."
and then she just
I'm
flicks.
someone who suffers with nosebleeds a lot.
Hmm.
I'm glad it's not nosebleed season for me because after seeing that, my nose would start to bleed. I'd probably shit my pants. I'd be like,
It's real. Compound V is real.
Yeah.
But
It's the way she's just so nonchalantly like flicks a bit of his fucking brain off of her hand.
we before the Dean dies, we get into that stuff. She goes to Butcher's old friend.
Yes.
I forget her name now that she goes
the
by.
FBI lady,
Yeah.
even though I'm not sure if she's actually FBI.
Thinking
with
she would help and
Yeah.
would be into the idea of destroying all soups. There's the question arisen of who was on the phone that she was talking to. I had a theory.
Butcher.
Well, I had the theory last week, didn't I? I said where maybe Butcher goes after the Dean because she's going too bad the other way, and maybe Butcher becomes this like strange middleman that gets rid of
Well,
evil soups, but gets rid of crazy people as well.
it feels kind of obvious, but no one's discussing it. How confident are we that this virus won't hurt other humans?
Well, we're not. Like,
They say it latches onto compound V, but is there any danger of another genetic mutation that's like prevalent
well,
in humans? Or and like
let's
viruses can
mutate.
mutate.
Let's just be simple here. All viruses mutate over time.
What
What's
stops this thing from mutating and just killing everyone?
Exactly. Also, for people like Butcher who've taken Temp V, like, sure, he might not have powers after 24 hours, but how do we know V's not somewhat in his bloodstream? Suddenly, if loads of people are taking Temp V, they're in danger. It makes sense, I think, that Butcher's on the phone because she makes a dig about Butcher without saying his name. There's this guy that Hippie Game Obsessed would definitely make that while he's listening, just to make a point. And then also having Butcher be the person that's going to watch it, like keep an eye on the Dean, and if anything goes wrong.
I could also see it being because he's a lot more respectful of doing stuff the right way.
Yeah, that's true.
He wants to stop soups, but he doesn't want to kill all soups. He doesn't want to commit a genocide of the soups.
Yeah, that's also true.
He just wants like an easier way to deal with the villains and the bad ones. But yeah, it's chaos, and like also when Newman's doing a talking on stage, and you get like kind of like Soup Lives Matter rally, and they're all like,
well, it's chaos. It's got people saying Soups Lives Matter. Also, Sam, you've been locked up for like all your life. How have you got in with the wrong crowd immediately?
Well, but you know what? It's actually kind of an interesting critique. It's kind of like you put someone in a little box because of something they can't control.
Yeah.
You abuse them and treat them like shit, and then you introduce them to someone who's like, no, you're important. You're better than other people. Of course they're going to want to hear that. They're going to eat that shit up.
Yeah. And also being told you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Like, they're absolutely going to eat that shit up. But also look at the people who were like taking him to that rally. The girl
Rufus.
who he first met was like, oh, we've got powers. We can do whatever the fuck we want. And then you've got Rufus, who we know is a walking piece of garbage. Yeah. And like the red Soup Lives Matters house. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Homelander was right. Like, if people don't get that the joke's about them, like, is the satire in the room with us?
Yeah, there's definitely some people that all went over their heads.
Yeah, and like even like Tucker Carlson looking head ass who was doing the interview and that.
Yeah, who's just doing it for the attention and the drama because he knows it's
libtard over here, and like everyone starts shouting abuse at her because she's being like generally pretty mid, and he's just like, and as you can see, she can't handle the heat. It's like, well, no, as far as you know, she has no superpowers, and a fucking superpower person's just stood up and flashed her like laser beam eyes at her. Like,
yeah,
what do you want her to do?
What's wild is she could probably just make all of their heads pop, and they don't know that.
It's the craziest thing. I'm so curious to see. Like, would we say that Marie and Victoria are the two most powerful soups we've seen?
I think possibly.
I can't think of anyone else we've seen that's as dangerous as them.
I think the only thing that is letting them down is obviously Homelander. Like if Marie, if they're not focused on attacking everybody, like Homelander could laser Marie and she's dead before she does anything. But if they were on a rampage, like, yeah, they're just gonna pop, everyone's dead.
And like, here's the thing: they don't even need to like be quick enough to blow up Homelander's head. Sorry, they could just like blow up his eyes.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of
But like, I'm just thinking about the ability of blood powers here. You don't even need to be in the room to kill this person. Surely, with like what we understand of their powers and what we've seen, surely they could just create a blood clot. That might, like we've heard that like, a brain aneurysm or like a blood clot in the brain is a ticking time bomb.
Well, yeah,
What's to stop them sitting down having a meeting, causing one of them in their head and then walking away and then just waiting. They're like, I don't need you to die like right now. You can die in 6 weeks, 10
Yeah.
weeks.
Oh yeah, they're the ultimate like secret agent
Yeah, they
because
are assassin material.
they don't have to put themselves in danger in an actual fight. They can essentially secretly kill everyone untraceably.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're wild. But you know what's scarier? Someone who can control people having a psychotic break. Kate has got off the deep end.
Yes.
I was very much of the attitude of Kate's no worse than everyone else. Everyone's done bad things and been put in tough situations. It's not her fault that she got manipulated when she came from an abused childhood. Then she kind of went a bit far.
But I mean, I think it's just
I don't blame her.
from that abuse.
Yeah. I don't blame her, but she has kind of gone past that point now of like, okay, you may have gone too far. But
I come from a position where both my parents work in the mental health industry, and they have done for their entire life. So like you learn a lot of stuff
yeah,
while they're doing table discussions all from one industry. And it's really interesting to see her after she stops taking her medication and the way she talks about her medication.
mm,
Because it's interesting. 'Cause, on one end, you're like, yeah, they were drugging her to keep her under control,
yeah.
but she has no ability to control the voices she hears, it seems, which
Well,
would drive someone insane.
yeah,
Like when she's not medicated, she hears all the voices and it doesn't seem like she has any ability to control them. Now, if they'd have helped her from an earlier age, maybe they could have taught her to control them, but she's too far gone now. So it's kind of like she should have just had access to the medication without the blackmail that comes with it.
yes.
But now
Oh,
she's used medication as this evil thing that's being used to control her when clearly it actually helps her keep her head on straight. Because, like, everyone's always said, like, oh, what superpower do you want? And no one ever goes mind reading because every human knows the temptation of mind reading is too
mhm.
much. It's not good for you. Don't do it. Um, and yeah, it's fully a psychotic break. She can hear everyone's thought about her constantly. There's nothing she can do to stop it. And like, imagine someone's lying to your face. You wouldn't normally know that, and all you can
Well,
hear is them laughing about how they're lying to your face.
and then the flip side of like, she's asking her who people that were her friends like, you don't trust me, do you? And they're going, well, you can read my mind, so you know I don't. Like they don't even hide the fact that or don't understand that she can hear. Like they know that she's hearing their thoughts uncontrollably, so they're just like being like, well, we don't trust her. Like they're kind of throwing it in her face more. So then that's like she knows her friends aren't even trying to be like
Yeah,
nice anymore.
100%.
I
It's
I wasn't expecting her to go like full. I was expecting, well, she can make the dean kind of just come clean, and then it's like I forget what she uses some keyword, and then the dean just slits her throat, and then she stops
I
Marie.
think the most I think the most brutal part of that was as Marie goes to help her. So I'm like, oh, Marie's got a bit of control over her. But we've seen Marie save someone from like a stab
Yes,
to the throat. Marie's got this. It's fine. And then as Marie goes forward, she just touches her hand and goes, "Don't save her."
which is even worse because it's like she's fully conscious, but she can't like go past the fact of like she can't
Yeah,
save it, but she all she can do is watch.
it's like her powers are on lockdown
And even
until
Kate's like, I'm sorry you're having to relive this because she knows she can see in her head that she's reliving her
yeah.
and it's like,
Because she can hear everyone's thoughts, all she's hearing in Marie's mind
probably as a screaming
is
mom or something.
is that memory of what
Yeah,
happened to her as a child. Um, it's a fucking brutal episode, man.
yeah.
I'm really worried about Sam. We do not need Sam turning into a mini Homelander.
No, I really hope Emma can keep him kind of close and under control in a sense. Not in the sense of like trying to control him, but keep him grounded.
I've got a horrible feeling Marie's gonna have to head pop him. And I'm
Yeah,
talking like, I'm saying have to in like a life or death, like he's trying to chokes her out,
well,
and she pops his head.
I think there's going to be a situation he loses his shit and Emma tries to stop him again and he doesn't calm down. But Emma's like, doesn't want to give up trying to calm him down. And Marie's like, he's going to kill Emma or something. So then she has to.
I can genuinely see everyone other than Marie dying.
So
I don't think all of them will, but I can see a situation in which everyone other than Marie dies.
Yeah, I also thought it was very interesting that the mayor lady was like, you have two options. You get in line and act like a hero to everyone and do as you should, or you can go ahead and like whistleblow, but you're gonna ruin it. Like, no, like you're gonna get yourself killed because they'll come after you.
So Newman's a really interesting character because she clearly does want to do a bit of good, but it's kind
she understands the system.
Yeah, there's a really good story to be told that has been told a number of different ways and a number of different times. Of if you are in a disadvantaged position, if you're a minority or someone who's historically oppressed, how high up or how much shit do you have to take to get to a point where you can make change? And what a lot of people have done in the past is they've kept their mouth shut, they've taken the shit, and they get such high point in power that the world below them is completely different, and they don't actually know what changes need to be made anymore. And instead of making little changes where they could and not getting as high, they've got higher and done nothing to help, making them part of the problem potentially. Yep. And I think Newman is actually on that scale. Yes, she's done some evil shit. Let's not skate over that. Yeah. But I do think inherently she wants to try and do some good.
Yeah.
But is she trying to get to too high a position of power to actually be able to do good?
Yeah, she's too lost in the source.
Yeah, she's saying to Marie, let these kids die, let this virus happen, who gives a fuck? Be the first black girl in the 7, and then me and you as best buddies can change the world.
Which to me is just like, she's now just trying to manipulate her for her own gain.
Exactly.
She's just trying to plant someone she has control over in the 7, so then she gets control over the 7 again.
Well, yeah, she was trying to be friendly with Homelander, and that all kind of went to shit. So
yeah.
I
saw an interesting theory.
Go on.
The Dean says right before all the shit happens with Kate, there's one thing she needs to do, then they can get out of here. They can escape. What if everything we saw happen was a fake memory? We've seen Kate put everyone to like sleep and put them in a memory.
What if it's the same thing?
What if the Dean did that to fake her own death so she can hide from Vought as this virus has got like this messed up? She's going to have to escape, otherwise Vaught's going to come after her or something.
Interesting.
What if she now essentially the last thing Kate had to do was so that everyone thinks she's dead, she can just slip away and she's not actually gone.
It's interesting. I wouldn't put it past the boys, but I think it undermines the hit of that moment where everyone's like, oh my god, you've killed her, don't let her die. Another really interesting thing, has Polaris been infected?
I don't think so.
Or is he just having seizures as a result of the V in his system and how old he is now?
I think he's having a seizure. Sort of the same way A-Train started having heart attacks from running. I think Polaris was having a seizure of some sort.
From using like the higher quality V booster, the V steroids.
Or like just something in his system, like he just started having seizures, and because he has powers, like it creates this catastrophic effect.
That scene of him in the ambulance having the seizure,
yeah,
and he's got his son trying to like stop the ambulance from crushing all of them, was wild.
Yes, it really was. Also, like a wild thought that like even the good soups who, well, yes, are conforming to don't shush, don't say anything, but they're not like Homelander level bad.
They're complicit in the sense of staying quiet and not saying anything versus your Homelander, your Stormfront, who do their own shit. Are just But
like when they lose control, Like they're just as dangerous as like
Imagine Marie has a seizure like that.
just everyone just boom blown up.
Yeah. Like, what'd you do? Did you give her seizure, like something to induce a seizure and drop her into a war zone? Just let her kill all the enemy combatants?
It's wild.
Um,
Also Polaris's son not being at the Dean's house adds an element of, does he freak out and say she fucked up? Or like something else there? Also plays into that theory I saw about the Dean's fake to death. He'd be like, where's the Dean gone? They're all like, she died. And he's like, no, I've just seen her. Or something. It could be interesting.
yeah, there's definitely some big twists and turns coming.
Oh yeah, there's
And
more twists and more
and
manipulation going
because
on.
we know that this leads directly into the next season of The Boys, which leads directly into the next season of Gen V, they're gonna leave us on a massive cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm genuinely concerned that we're gonna lose some people. The
Well,
only people I'm like desperate to not die are Emma, Jordan, and Marie. Everyone else I could make my peace with, but them three characters I've grown really fond of.
yeah.
And it would genuinely be like, that really fucking sucks if any of
Yeah.
them got killed
Now,
off.
there was do you remember when Polaris' son went to see Rufus and he shut the shutters and shut the door?
Mm-hmm.
That obviously means the school can go into lockdown. I feel
Yeah.
like they wouldn't have shown us that if that didn't, like a
Bit
Chekhov's
of
gun. Like,
Chekhov's gun.
I think the school at some point in there's something's going to go down that the school goes in lockdown, and I think that's, like you say, where some people are going to die.
I enjoyed the revelation that I think we'd kind of pieced together, but didn't know it to this extent. That Godolkin was purely put in place to monitor suits as
Yes.
they develop and think of ways to stop them. I think we worked out that like that facility being there was kind of for that purpose. I don't think we realized the entire university
Was
was
just a
also
front.
used for that.
Yeah.
The forest is just there for more extreme stuff, but the entire university is just there to monitor and understand soups.
Yeah, we kind of like I feel like we'd taken it as the school was Vought, but early days, trying to instill that level of like everything's media controlled, everything is like put on a front, pretend to be a superhero, but behind closed doors you can do what you want. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of like building that precedent. It wasn't, I don't think we'd realized that it was just all the front to actually just learn as much as they fucking can about what they've created.
It is the palatable bit of the forest and then the disgusting bit of the forest. There is no difference.
Yeah.